Hey everybody, Chef Jacob here. Today we're going to be going over my first prints with the Elegoo Mars. I've had a few models, I've used 3 different kinds of resin, and so far I'm pretty happy with it. We're going to go ahead and take a look at those things. There are a few mistakes that I made, but so far everything the printer has done has been flawless. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Alright. Alright everybody, first off, this is my new workbench. I'm still organizing. You can see a little bit of clutter there, some trash here that has to go out. But this is the new workbench. It's got pegboard built in, 2 drawers. Here's my welder and my vise. I bought this with the intention of welding on it as well as using it for my finishing. And it came with, underneath here, it just came with a wooden top. So I ordered a piece of sheet metal from the local Lowe's. Just cut some notches out right here with my angle grinder to make it fit on. And that way I don't have to worry as much about the sparks from the grinder and the welder. I do have, a couple feet away, a fire extinguisher. Also, I have the washer and dryer right there, and I'll be hooking up that hose you see in that sink, just to make sure everything's safe. Now to go ahead and take a look at the prints, I'll put links down below so you can take a look and do these yourself. I have a failure here and a failure here. I'll get into that a little bit more detail. This one here was successful but almost failed, and then all the other ones here came out great. And I'll go model by model and look at them individually. So we're going to go ahead and get started on that right now. Alright, so as you can see, these models all here, right here, are all the clear blue ABS-like photopolymer from Elegoo. This is the one that I ordered when I ordered my printer. The benchy, easily the best looking benchy I've ever had. First resin benchy I've ever done. Only thing I can see that's a flaw, and it probably is just the way I sliced it, is right there. You can see it's catching the edge on the bottom. It's almost like what you would think of elephant footing with an FDM. You can see it right there, right here. And then also, probably the way it was put, because I put it flat on the build plate, there are no words on the bottom. But other than that, it looks flawless. The parts that are solid, because the part here that's darker, I did print with solid infill to make sure that this piece here was supported, because it was unsupported the first. And then other than that, there's no droops, there's no sags, there's no lines. I would pretty much call that a perfect print, aside from that little bit of defect on the bottom. Alright, up next we have these 2 models. They're both exactly the same model. I did end up scaling this one up a little bit. They are supposed to represent the Disney castle. I thought it'd be really pretty to do almost like a little influence from Frozen. That would be like the ice castle, which is why I used the clear blue. This one was printing great, but you can see right there it just kind of stopped printing except for that one tower. Go ahead and focus. And at that point the supports came a little loose and it started sticking to the FEP instead of to the model. Other than that, again, flawless, beautiful model. Of course it doesn't want to focus. So aside from that, it was a terrific model. I went ahead and tried again, same model. I added a little bit more support, and then I scaled it up, and you can see that this one did complete, and again, came out beautiful. So I'm going to say that no issues from the machine. However, I went a little light on the supports on the base, and you can see that it's a little rounded. You put it flat on the table, it's not flat. So that's really the only problem. There you go. Now you can see it. That's the only real problem with this model. Again, the printer did great, but I'm still learning with Chitupak. So those are a couple flaws that I will learn from going forward. Alright, let's go on to the next one. Okay guys, right here we have the same resin. is the alien from the claw machine from the Toy Story movies. This was my first attempt here. Not entirely sure what in the world this is anymore. This was supposed to be like this, so it just ended up getting, the layers getting squished, I think. And the disc supports did fail, so that caused this issue right here. But you could see up until it failed, and also I meant to make it have infill, and I think that was part of the issue, was it was just too thin. So I made the walls on the second one a little thicker too. But you can see there's a good amount of detail. You can see his arms, you know, up until it failed, and even it was trying up here on the sides even. But up until it failed, it was coming out very well. This was the second attempt, and as you can see, this one printed beautifully. The only flaw with this one, again, as I'm learning, I did not realize that the models need to be completely dried before you try curing them. So I just went ahead and rinsed it off the cleaning, and threw it right into my homemade curing station. And it cured. It's fine. It's dry, but I don't know how much you can see out here because I cleaned some of it off. But there's this like white powdery residue, and that is apparently from you curing it while it's still wet, particularly if there's any chemicals left in the water. I'm using mean green because I cannot get isopropyl alcohol, so that is what happened there. Just something to learn from. Other than that, the model came out great. Might finish scrubbing it off, or I might end up just painting it later. But yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and move on. Look at the alien with the alien. Hi, buddy. You like your alien? Alright, these next models you're gonna see were used. I used the yellow resin. Again, it is Elegoo. Just their standard resin, not the ABS like this time. So the first model we're going to look at is this Winnie the Pooh. My wife is a huge Winnie the Pooh fan. I made her one of the same model on an FDM printer in an earlier video. If you wanted to go ahead and take a look at the Disney video I posted a couple months back. Again, this print came out flawless, except, and again, this was my fault. I didn't realize there was still a little bit of resin on his leg. After I washed it, I let it dry this time, which is why there's no white powder. But I didn't realize there was a little puddle of resin. So I cured it, and now he has snacks, honey, on his leg. But you can see, other than that, it's a phenomenal model. Came out great. The details with the yellow are a little hard to catch on camera, but you can see his pupils and everything, so I'm really happy with this model. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next one. Okay, here is a Happy Pikachu. I just thought it'd be kind of cool to print a Pokemon. I never have before. Aside from probably about a year ago, I printed a Charizard with a really pretty orange filament I got from my maker box. Again, you can see just like Pooh, it came out with some great detail. The tail, I mean, you can see how small that the point is that tail attaches. I haven't cleaned up the supports at all, so there's a couple little nubs on there. I used the settings from 3D Printing Pro, so most of them just come off without any effect, but I did put a couple heavier ones on the bottom, so that's why those are there. And then you can see, I think I under supported right here just a little bit, and his foot got a little messed up. So again, not at the fault of the printer, it's just I'm learning, and this is the first experience I've had with resin printing. So overall, very happy with that. And now we're going to go ahead and move on to his very little brother. Alright, now here is little Pikachu. Sorry, I'm zoomed in pretty far, so any little movement I make does make the camera shake. This model, again, came out just as good as the big one. Being so small, I accidentally broke his ear off. That was not like that when I originally pulled it off, but then when I was cleaning it, I accidentally broke his ear off. You can see the tail's intact. Everything looks really nice. And then you can see, obviously it's on a dime, and I'm going to zoom out to 1x. And you can see like just how small it is. So this is a 50mm tall model right here. And then here's his little brother. Alright, let's move on. Okay, these next models I'm going to show here were printed with Everyone that I featured in an earlier video. The black and the gray. Mostly the gray, but the one piece I'm going to show you was printed in the black. Overall, they both printed great, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at the models now. Okay, so right here we have the rooks that I showed in the first Elegoo printer video. I just took and painted one. I wanted to see how well it took paint. And this is just one coat of some silver spray paint. There's no primer, no sanding. Just shook up the can and sprayed it. And I think it coated pretty well, pretty evenly, considering the lack of preparation and the fact that it's only one coat. You can still make out the words. Overall, pretty happy with this model too. As I mentioned in the first video, you can see I didn't wash it thoroughly enough. This was my very first print right here, so you can see the details are amazing, just I didn't wash all of the uncured resin off, so some of the words are a little blurred, there's a little gloopiness, but you can see that the model itself came out beautiful. Alright, now let's move on to our final print. This is my first Elegoo resin printer upgrade, and even though it did come with the 2 hangers, I found this model on Thingiverse and I decided I liked it a bit more. It firmly attaches with the help of 2 M4 screws. I didn't have any M4, so I used M3 that I had on hand and it worked fine. And then you don't have to worry about taking it off. It just tilt it, slides back on, tighten it down. When the print's ready to come off, you just pull it and put it right up on there. And it's much snugger. It does have a little looseness, but it's definitely much snugger, and you don't have to worry about it like falling off like with the ones that came with the printer. This was printed in the Everyone black resin, and again I was just fiddling around with the spray paint idea, plus this model also had some of that white powdery residue, so I wanted to see how well that covered up, and I think it looks really great. It blends in pretty well with the sort of hammered metallic look of the printer. It almost looks like it came with it, so I'm very happy with the outcome of that print. Alrighty guys, so there was a quick rundown of all the models that I've printed off so far on my Elegoo Mars. So far I'm very happy. I know my wife really likes her Pooh Bear, and she's a huge Disney fanatic, so she also really liked the castle. And I think that there's going to be a lot more to come with this printer. I'm excited to try some new different resins and to see what they all can do, as well as I continue to get better with sheet to box, the supports, cleaning and curing. I'm really excited to see what this printer can really do once I'm up to par with it. This is just the base model, but I have no concerns about the print quality of it. I think it came out great, and like I mentioned in the first video, I absolutely love the silver and orange, so I'm not upset that I found it for cheaper than the traditional black and red. And yes, I wanted the Pro, but it's so hard to be in stock right now. For what I'm doing, I don't think I need that tiny bit of extra detail. So far I'm really happy with this. So then we're just going to go ahead and wrap it up. Hope you all have a great day and enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. And make sure you leave a comment down below of what you'd like to see in the future. Any particular models or types of models you'd like to see me print off, either for the Elegoo or one of my FDM printers. And you can expect in the coming weeks to see more about me rebuilding the Tronxy X5 SA. I got the rails mounted and some custom designed brackets for the X-axis, and I also mounted the spool holder up top, so you'll see more coming from that. That video is going to be a little different. I'm going to do a short intro on that video, and then I'm going to just take pictures as I build, because I've already started, and then I'll just give a summary at the end of the differences. And that's also the printer that's going to get the 2209 steppers that I reviewed last week. Alright, I think that's about it. Hope you enjoyed, and have a great day.